And I think we're live.
All right.
Can you double check and make sure, as always?
Yeah, it always
Because we're
takes
boomers.
takes a moment to to show up on my stream here.
Yeah, there's always a slight delay.
Okay. Oh,
Is it showing?
okay. It's showing now that we are live.
All right, welcome everyone to our launch party for Left for the Vultures. We are going live on Kickstarter in less than 10 minutes. Thank you guys for joining us. Whoever's hopped on, I don't see anyone on yet, but we just started this live stream and a little bit earlier than we had said we would.
Well, a little
But
earlier, but also a little later because I think I put on some of the memes 10:30 my time, 7:30 your time. But
I think that's because on Thursday nights when we stream, it's at 7:30, 10:30.
yeah.
So maybe that's why. But welcome everyone. Looks like we do have someone already who hopped on. My name is Vase. I am the lead designer for Left for the Vultures, and I run the Left for the Vultures YouTube channel. And with me today,
I am Geo, and I run the Headless Hammerhead YouTube channel.
Gio was integral into the design of Left for the Vultures. We did a ton of play testing, and he was part of almost every single play test group. Obviously, we did some play test groups without the same people to make sure that the game, was handled by different player types and all that stuff. But there were a lot of recommendations in addition to the fact that a lot of the editing was done by Gio as well in the game. So yeah, here we are, man. I can't believe it. We're finally at the launch of the game.
Man,
It will be in people's hands very, very soon because the writing is done. And that's what this Kickstarter is for, so that we can get a print run, we can get it out to people, and we can have additional copies that we can take with us to conventions and all that, because we will be making the convention circuit next year. We have enough products now. We have Chromier that's coming out in a couple months. We have this game, and we have Horror Issues and Landing, in addition to dozens of 5e adventures and Left for the Vultures adventures that we are going to be printing as well. So we're going to have plenty of products to take with us to conventions. And that's kind of why we haven't been going to the conventions. We didn't have enough to set up a booth. And, we're fans of role playing games. And I have wanted to go to conventions as a fan, but work and obviously working on these projects has taken a ton of time and effort as well as money. So it's been very difficult to go to the convention scene.
yeah, definitely money is a big issue. I've been unemployed for 4 years, just living off savings and trying to grow the business as well. So a lot of big things happening, a lot of publications, and like you said, we finally have some stuff that we could actually display at our table rather than just a QR code. Um, but I had published several things before, so we do have a track of publications, things we've basically tested things. We've tested several different printers just to make sure that we get the best quality printing. We do have Isuzu, which was printed, of course, which you have. If you want to
Yeah.
show the book, it's really, really top
The
quality.
quality
People who have
is
received it,
amazing. The paper
yeah,
is
that's always the first thing they say. Wow, this looks
yeah.
really good. Hardcover, glossy pages, full color, professional layouts. I know that's a gripe that a lot of people have with some kind of like homemade Kickstarter campaigns and stuff, where the layouts just don't work so well.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time perfecting this. Really took a lot of courses to learn how to use programs that would help us with the layout to make it as professional as possible, so that you get what you pay for or more than what you pay for.
Yeah. And as far as the quality of the book, man, it's something that we looked into as well with China, because we could cut corners and make more profit by going the cheaper route. I have books from actually some of the largest 5e third party publishers who absolutely can afford higher paper quality, and they don't, because they're trying to maximize the profits. I can assure you, I have a book. Um, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to bash other companies, but it's a pretty interesting campaign for fifth edition. And man, when you open those pages, the quality, even compared to 5e books, like original 5e books from Wizards of the Coast, which are not the highest quality either. But even compared to those, this thing is just like, wow, it feels cheap.
Yeah,
Feels cheap.
I mean, even top publishers, like I do comic books, so uh, some of the top publishers, and people should know who those are. They're very, I mean, it's a meme how bad the quality of the pages are in those comic books. And like I've published comic books, and we have, I mean, these are high gloss, really heavy gauge. I mean, you can see, you can hear the quality. You do that with one of those other books, and it sounds worse than newspaper pages.
Yeah.
And you know, full bright color. You can see that these, even the cover is cardstock. You know, we don't have a floppy, flimsy page. Even our regular books, this is a matte cover, and it's, I mean, everything we publish, we try to do as professionally as possible, because you don't want to rush something out, and the person who paid for it is expecting something that they would buy off a shelf in a bookstore, and they
Yeah.
get something else. It's a huge disappointment. I definitely
Yeah,
would
I
not
mean,
want to be
even
on
if
the
it costs
receiving
us
end of.
more,
Yeah.
even if we give up some profits, in fact, with Ishizu, I lost money on the thing. Now, of course, I have extra copies that I was able to print that eventually will make me my money back eventually. But I did have to lose money on the whole prospect. And you know what? Could I have bridge that gap if I went cheaper? Yeah, but my own personal belief is my reputation is attached to these products, and the last thing I want is for someone to get this and go, "Man, that's really cheap and terrible." And there's the reputation for the company. So
Yeah.
we definitely did not want that.
Yeah. And so when it comes to that, to the quality, also while we're on that topic, for this campaign for Left for the Vultures, everything's done. We've spent 3 years working on this, refining it. The layouts, everything is done, written. All we're missing is a couple of pieces of art. So as soon as this campaign is over, the digital rewards will be going out. Usually with Kickstarter, I think it takes about 2 weeks after the end of the campaign, and then the digital rewards will be fulfilled. We are not going to string you along. We're not going to make you join
A
our
Patreon.
Patreon to get updates or anything like that. We give you the updates by email through Kickstarter every month. The digital rewards will be fulfilled right away. The physical rewards take a little bit longer because they have to be shipped to the US and
Yeah.
then
Well,
shipped to you.
it's a process because China has to send prints, so like the samples, so that we
Proofs.
can make
Yeah.
sure it looks good to our satisfaction before they do the full print run. So that's a process because they have to print it one copy, send it to us, we review it, we give feedback, then they might send us another copy. So the process of printing does take a few months, but the book is done. So you will get your digital copy as soon as the campaign ends, which is 2 weeks out. After the campaign ends, it's when the funds are
And the
received.
best
And
part, my disappointment. I have a gripe with so many games that come out. It's not usually worth it to buy a game when it first comes out, because there's no content for it. There's no adventures or anything. And with this one, we have so many adventures done. And in fact, with this campaign, if you back within this first 72 hours, you will get a free adventure, The Children of Ansel, uh, right when you receive your core book. So you're going to be able to start playing that weekend.
yep. So, G, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to share the screen.
We're about to go live. Oh my goodness.
Here we go. So, Left for the Vultures is going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're live. So exciting, dude. I can't wait. This has been such a long process.
Yeah,
But
it started as just an idea where you thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, we had a game that did this? And then you just started putting it on paper, and it grew to this massive, massive game. Uh, just as you kept adding to it, and you're like, oh man, I'm going to make it a game. And you just kept adding things and just made it really, really quickly too. And then we just started testing it. And
yeah. It initially I started working on this right before the OGL debacle. For those who aren't familiar, the OGL debacle is where the Wizards of the Coast, the makers of Fifth Edition Dungeons and Dragons, decided to redact their open gaming license. That's what OGL stands for. they tried to redact that from people who were already making products. And I was actually in the middle of running the horror issues and landing campaign, and I was gonna try and go and do a print run for it and all that stuff, but it was still in the early stages. And I was like, "Oh my god, when I put this thing out, I'm not gonna make any money. All the money's gonna go to Wizards of the Coast." And so, um, at that point, I was like, "This is not good. I can't keep making products." Or, even I had just started the idea of making products, but I'm like, "It's gonna knocked me off my feet right from the very start." So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to make my own game because I don't want to be beholden to the whims of corporate America, where they decide, oh, well, today we're going to cancel this license. And now everyone who makes products for us has to give us even more money or whatever. And we don't want that. And so our game is going to have an open game license. That's actually one of the questions that have come through. And I might as well answer it first before anything else. We are going to have an
Yeah.
open game license. We are going to have a system resource document where people will be able to reference it to make their own websites, their own products, and all that stuff for the game. That will be released not right upon the end of the Kickstarter, but a couple months after. So before you get your physical books, that will be in play. So yeah, hopefully we get some third party publishers. I think that would be really cool to have third party publishers make products for the game. I can't even imagine. It would be so exciting to see someone make a product for the game that I made. I don't know how else to put that into words, but it's so exciting to have something that you've built from the ground up and have it out there in people's hands. And honestly, that's what this campaign is about. Like, I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm not trying to make a huge profit. I'm just trying to get enough copies so that we can then take them to conventions and get them in people's hands playing the game that now we
Yeah.
absolutely love.
And we do love this game. We, in fact, we recorded a uh, a playthrough of one of the adventures, and that video will be coming out this week, probably today, right? Uh,
To either tonight or tomorrow.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we did a
So
one person playthrough of the adventure, and that was that was super fun. And you played a gremlin character, but we're not going to give any spoilers. But it is one of the adventures that we have up on the Kickstarter. So you're able to get that adventure that you're going to see Geo play through. You're going to actually get that adventure as your one of your rewards when you pledge.
yep.
Yeah. So when before we launched, so over the last week or so, we sent some questions to people, or not sent questions, but we asked people to send us questions. Um, about us, about the project, or basically anything, kind of like a ask us anything type of thing. And we have collected those. They came through Instagram, they came through YouTube, they came through our email mailing list, and we are going to be answering them throughout this lunch party. So, what was the first question, Gio, that came through?
So first question, which I was very surprised we got a lot of personal questions. So the first question was, what other things do you guys do for fun besides role playing games?
Mm, what's your answer, Gio?
Well, I always like to tell people that I play bass and guitar and ukulele, although I haven't really played seriously for a few years, actually since the pandemic. In 2020, I got really, really back into bass and ukulele and acoustic guitar and took many courses and got really good again. And then I kind of, since I opened my comic store, I just kind of put it on the back burner. But comics being the other one, I love comics. And then again, during the pandemic, comics just changed quite a bit. So I opened the store at a bad time because
Yeah.
the comics industry changed completely, and I was not into it. My heart was not in it, and I've kind of stopped collecting comics. And what I read now is just old comics. I buy like the old EC horror comics and stuff, and of course I do art. I love drawing and painting, so
Some of
that's
those
exact.
X-Men runs from the early 2000s were
Yeah.
really, really freaking awesome. I also used to be into comics a while ago. I haven't really been into comics as much. I like them. I have a bunch of comics, but I have a stack. I mean, and when I say a stack, I mean a full bookshelf of comic books that I intend to read at some point, but have not gotten around to them. But my
Well,
my tastes have kind of shifted with comic books. I'm not as big of a fan of the actual like comic book. I like the trade paperbacks much more because it's a more complete story, and
yeah.
that's just kind of more of my speed.
Yeah,
But
for comics in general, to read, definitely the trade paperbacks are the way to go. But for collecting or just to have,
mhm,
I nothing beats like a floppy comic for me, Plus, you have the individual covers where in a trade paperback you have the one cover, and with the if you have 5 issues collecting that trade paperback, if you have the individual issues, you have 5 different covers you can look at. But then again, the other day I was thinking about that, like when you're collecting comics, you put the comics in a bin and then you never pull them out again to look at them.
yeah.
So kind of comic collecting, especially for covers, people who buy the variants and stuff, I always wonder, like, do you ever go back and look? I do. I At least once a year I'll go back and I'll just pull each one out just to look at them to remind myself what I still have. So
I don't. If I really like a cover, I'll get it, slabbed and then put up on a wall. I mean, we just moved into this house a couple months ago, so I have some slab comics. I don't know where I'm going to put them yet, but they're there. They're going to be going up somewhere. Um, but yeah, no, I
even
don't. I
slab
don't
comics,
gen.
I got rid of all my slabs because even that industry has gotten really crazy. Companies going under, companies with scandals. The grading process has been scrutinized because of inconsistencies and many, many, many issues. And I got so disheartened in general with all that. So I sold all my slabs. I had a great collection, and after I lost my job, I sold them, and I that paid for my trip to Arizona actually for my whole family. But I, I kind of stopped caring about the condition of comics. Now, if I like a cover, it doesn't matter to me if it's in good shape or not.
Yeah.
You still see the art, even if it's all crumbled up and has spine ticks or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate a good piece of art. I love obviously we both love Iron Maiden. So, back to the things that we like outside of tabletop role playing games. Music is definitely one of the things. You see my guitars over here. I just started getting back into it. I've been playing guitar for about 30 years on and off, but I want to get back into it. So I've been trying to practice here. And then we love Iron Maiden, and the covers for all their albums are so good. I mean, the artwork is so cool. In fact, right up here, you can't see it. I guess I can turn the camera around and all that, but yeah, but it's, yeah, I might as well. What the heck? Um, the Live After Death special edition, 40th anniversary edition. It's right up on my wall. It's the first thing, it's the main thing that's above my work desk so I can see it all the time because I love the artwork so much. But also the album is so good. And that one
Yeah,
had like the special blue and blue and
blue
yellow
and gold. Yeah,
record. So that's pretty cool, and it's fun to have it up there and I can look at it all the time. But it's just such a good album. And I do listen to that album, at least one song from that album at least once a week. So it's definitely my favorite album by a long shot.
yeah,
Also, other things that I love to do, I love going on hikes. I live in Oregon now, so Oregon is great. It's a lot of outdoors. Hiking is amazing. It's just being out in nature is really fun, especially with the dogs. I love my 2 dogs, and going out on hikes with them is really fun. So that's really cool.
yeah. Yeah, I have kids, so like taking my kids everywhere to events and stuff, and I learn a lot too. A lot of the things we go and do, uh, and it is a lot of fun. With the kids and also taking the dogs to the dog park and even on road trips, camping. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so mostly role playing games, hikes, and music. Music is definitely a big one. I love movies too, although recently I found myself not being able to finish a full length movie in one sitting, and I think a lot of people are going through that
A
right
lot of
now.
people,
I,
yeah,
Part of it is the younger people; their attention span is shrinking because of TikTok and Instagram
yeah,
Shorts and things or Reels or whatever. Um, I don't do TikTok. I don't do Instagram really, other than advertising for the company, but I get it. Life is just moving at a faster pace, and sitting
yeah.
down for 2 to 3 hours to watch a full movie is just nearly impossible. If I ever do that, which is very rare these days, I have to go to the theater. So it's like I'm going here specifically to do this one thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like going to the gym, you know. You go to the gym, you have a gym membership. What's great is because it forces you to do that because there's nothing else you're going to be doing at the gym. So you go to the place to do the one thing. So same thing with the movie theater. But at home, I found myself, we got a really nice TV now, but I rarely ever turn it on because
Yeah, me
we have
neither.
movies we love and I pop it in and then I'll sit there and then like maybe 30 minutes into it, I'm like, I feel useless. I got to go
Yeah.
do some work on something, you
Yeah,
know?
me too, man. And it's crazy. I barely have time to watch TV or whatever. And my wife's a teacher, so she's off during the summers and she loves to just binge TV shows and whatnot. And I just can't anymore. I like watching TV. I feel like I'm just wasting my day. So I do, just to spend time with her, doing what she loves. I'll sit and then I'll draw while watching the TV, and that I can sit through is like binging TV shows. I guess it's easier because they're more casual generally than a movie. A movie requires a lot of commitment. You have an hour and a half or 2 hours to get the full story. But with a TV show, you can kind of they extend it and you have the commercial breaks and whatnot. So
And you can end at a natural point with the episodes, you know. So
yeah,
like you
yeah.
watch an hour, but even a 1 hour long TV show. So let me tell you, I just started getting into this. It's actually a telenovela. um,
What?
yeah,
What?
El Señor de los Cielos, and
Really
it's so
interesting.
good, dude. I mean, I'm only in the first episode, but so much has happened. So it's insane because it's a soap opera, but it's all about the cartels.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, and so
cool.
it's like it's kind of a soap opera, but it's kind of like a cartel movie, a long form movie because there's like 7 seasons of this thing, deal. 7 freaking seasons.
Wow. Holy
But
lordy.
yeah, yeah, but it's so good. It's like this drug lord, and then he's like having surgery on his face to change his face to get away from the from his enemies and from the police, and then
So it's
there
like face off.
Escobar is in the show,
Oh
not
wow.
the real Escobar, but
Oh, of course.
it's really good, dude. There's explosions and shootings and like
Wow,
yeah,
dude. Holy
bro,
cow.
it's so
I've been
good.
wanting for several weeks. I had heard of this show called From, and it's on MGM Plus, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Never heard
I
of
had
that
no
streaming
idea
service.
MGM had its own streaming service.
They might have 3 subscribers or something
But
altogether.
but this show has 4 seasons already, From. And it sounded really interesting. They say it's got like elements of King in Yellow and all this other stuff and horror. So it sounds really, really interesting. I saw the commercial for it. It looks cool. And I've been putting it off because first I got to do the free trial, which is 7 days, and I want to binge all 4 seasons in those 7 days. But I've been so busy. There's no way I'm going to be able to binge even one full season in 7 days, and I don't want to have to pay, especially for MGM Plus. Like, why would I want a
Yeah.
subscription to that? You know,
Yeah, that's
um,
what's weird. I can stream like um let's say Portrait Artist of the Year. I love that show, right? It's like a
yes, that's a great
competition where these
show.
artists do portraits of famous people or whatever. It's really cool because they do these amazing portrait
In
paintings in like
different
four.
styles, yeah, they don't limit it to, traditional photorealistic
Yep.
portraits or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you even have metal etching as one
Yeah,
of there was a contestant who
yeah,
did metal etching, which is crazy. But they do a portrait in 4 hours, and then they move on to the next level, and then the winner gets to do a portrait that gets hung in like this museum forever,
yep,
which is really really cool. But Portrait Artist of the Year is a more casual show, so I can while I'm working, I have my 2 monitors, so while I'm working, I can have Portrait Artist of the Year on one, and then do my work on the other, and I can just listen and kind of look here and there. But it's a more casual show that you don't have to fully pay attention to, and you can just peek at the screen once in a while, and it's good enough, Whereas a show where like the Señor de los Cielos that I've been watching, you have to pay attention
that's
because so
hilarious.
much happens in one episode that you have to just focus, right? You can't be distracted. And I can't do that for an hour. And each episode's like a freaking hour long. And it's a soap opera. So it's like um watching this show is I have to do it in piecemeal, I have to watch it in like the first episode, I had to watch it in 3 sittings because sitting for 1 hour straight I feel really terrible that I got nothing done for the last hour.
Nothing done. Yeah, man. It's crazy.
Wow,
Uh
guys, you guys are amazing, dude. We are at 827 bucks already. We
oh
just
wow.
launched 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago.
Wow, so almost 1,000. That's amazing.
That's
That's
a quarter
crazy.
of the way already in 15 minutes. Thank you guys so much. This is insane. And again, we're not trying to make $1 million here. This isn't money that's just going to be filling our pockets or anything like that. What we're trying to do here is the game is done. We want to get physical copies out to people. So I have the issues. I keep looking that way because I have the horror issues and landing books. I have a bunch of them already that I can take with me to conventions. And then we're going to have these adventures. We're going to have the Left for the Vultures. We're going to have Chromier. And have all this product to take to conventions, set up a vendor booth, and then talk to people about the stuff that we make and get the word out. So this is only the beginning. Hitting this goal of
Yeah.
$4,000 is the minimum that we need in order to do a print run to fulfill whoever backs, plus have that many additional books. So if we do 1,000 books, let's say, we'll have enough to have another 1,000 sitting here that we can sell later on through conventions and on our website and all that stuff. So the main goal of this is to get the book and the game into more people's hands, to have more people play
Yeah.
and experience the game, because we're so proud of this game. We know you're going to love it. And once
We
you
want
get
you
it
to
at your
try it,
table,
and when you try it, we know you're gonna buy it. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
yep,
You're gonna love this game so much. And uh, again, you can watch. We're gonna have a video with test play where I play a character in one of the adventures that you would get with this Kickstarter, and you it's so much fun. Well, you'll
yeah,
see it, but
it was a fun session. I enjoyed it. It was a
yeah.
very different character than I expected you to bring
Yeah.
into the table.
So back to our
So
discussion. So one of the shows we've been watching, me and my wife, is Survivor, and we binged, man, over the summer,
I love
uh,
Survivor. Yeah.
several seasons, and now we're caught up to season 50, which was the last one. And I kept seeing a lot of the things in Survivor, like, man, the themes for Left for the Vultures. Like, yeah, you're a survivor, and you've got to push through and kind of take over and get revenge and push past your limits. And I kept seeing in Survivor when, somebody just wants to give up, and then the host, Jeff Probst, he says, "You have to dig." And the person ends up doing it, and they end up in, sitting in breaking a record on one of these challenges. That the record used to be 23 minutes. Now they go over an hour, and it's because they're pushing through. And that concept, that's the vengeance in our game, in Left for the Vultures. When you dig and you find that extra push, and it's so well done in the game, I think, by you, that the vengeance dice system, because it's not limited to just a couple things, like, oh, you get inspiration and whatever, a +2 to hit or whatever. It's not like that at all. You can use it in so many different ways. And I did use it. I forgot I had it. That's how used to not having something like that in games. I forgot I had it while we were playing last night, and uh, it did come when you reminded me. Hey, don't forget you have vengeance, man. It did come in handy and
Yeah.
kind of save the day. So
It's super handy. I mean, when you read it on the page, you're like, oh, vengeance dice. It's another meta currency, just extra, to help here and there. But it is integral to the survival of your character in most situations. Vengeance dice are far more powerful than they seem on paper. Like, people are like, oh, it's just a D4. Sure, it explodes, but it's just a D4. But damage thresholds are so low in this game that an extra point, in fact, you use a vengeance die to add one more point of damage. Spoiler alert for that episode. Um, and that was enough. That was
yeah,
enough. So sometimes it's just exactly what you need. Also, you can expend it to move. You can expend it to heal. You can expend a dice to get rid of a condition. So they are far more versatile and powerful than they look on paper. And sometimes, people will be like, "Oh, just another meta currency. It's not that big of a deal. It's just like hero points or inspiration reflavored," but it's not the case, not in this game. Vengeance eyes are actually a very powerful resource, probably your most powerful resource that you have in the game. So
yeah, and it's such a great system. Uh, Not overpowered, so it doesn't make you a superhero. Uh, but at the same time, it's that balance, that's so hard to find sometimes in games. Sometimes you give players something, and it just it unbalances. It makes you a superhero, or it's just like why would I even use this? It's
Yeah.
so dumb,
um
So
so speaking of other games, meta currencies, one of the questions that someone sent in was, what's our favorite other tabletop role playing game other than Left for the Vultures? So Gio, what's your favorite tabletop role playing game? Of the We've played dozens of tabletop, if not over 100 tabletop role playing games in the last several years. So which one is your favorite other than Left for the Vultures?
that's tough, man, because there's so many good ones. Geez, maybe Delta Green, just because it's different than most of the other games we've played, where it's modern but it's not futuristic, uh, and it's dark, and you're not quite a superhero. You're like a regular person, um, and you're able to really delve deep. I love mysteries. I love exploration. I love all that kind of course, horror. So it blends all of those things really well, and I think it does the mental health aspect of it. I think it handles it really well with its mechanics. The whole psychosis and going insane and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, not to be boring, but I agree. I agree with you. My favorite tabletop role playing game, other than Left for the Vultures, is Delta Green. Uh, it's just so good. I mean, I can only play it so much. Like, it's not a game that I'm gonna be like taking a week off from work. Like with when I started with fifth edition D&D, I could take a week off from work, and I think I did that one time. I went to a convention and played morning to night for a whole week, and I
Yeah.
wanted more. Like it was, I couldn't get enough of it. Right?
Heck, when
With
we were in middle school, man, we started D&D second edition. It was like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were
we
playing
were playing.
literally every day. And when I was DMing, I could not keep up writing adventures, and I winged it on most days because
Yeah, we
we
played
just
every
played
day, and we
so
played
much.
for hours a day. But with a game like Delta Green, as much as I love it, you can only have so much of it because it's so intense, right? And it's almost like a roller coaster, right? So I guess that's when people are like, "Oh, well, if you love the game so much, why can't you just play it every day?" Right? Well, it's kind of like if you love roller coasters, you love them, but you're not going to want to be on a roller coaster for freaking 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? It's because it's so intense. It's so much excitement that just like
Yeah,
it's draining. It's exhausting. So same with Delta Green. It's kind of draining to play that game, as great as it is, right? But I love that game. I agree with you. The madness mechanics, the mental health mechanics are so awesome.
yeah,
Specifically, the bonds mechanic is one of the aspects of that game that I really love so much. I think it's such a ingenious mechanic that the designers were able to come up with, and it adds so much to your characters
it
when
does.
you're
Yeah,
yeah. So really, really love that game. So I guess we both have the same favorite tabletop role playing game.
I
um,
mean, we do have a lot of similar likes on so many things like music and art and whatnot, but I mean, we do have a lot of differences too. But one of the questions while we're there is we, as twins, we do get so many questions that are over and over again. It's the twin set of questions.
yeah,
If I hit you, does he feel it? Have you guys ever switched places? Can your girlfriends tell you apart? Things like that.
all that
And
stuff. Yeah,
yeah, and we every time people ask that, we tell our switching stories. We have a few good ones. And so like like the DMV. So one year I was getting ready. I was saving up to get married, and I wanted to have a down payment for the house. I wanted to pay for the wedding. So I was working 3 jobs. I was sleeping like 2 hours a day. I only had Sundays off, and I didn't have time to go get a new license. My license was expiring, and I had to go get a new license to renew it. And so I don't think renewing online was a thing at that point. This was like what, 2011 or something. And so I said, Vase, can you run real quick to the DMV? Well, real quick, right? To the DMV and just get my new license. You just probably just got to pay the $10 and they'll print it, and then you're out. Little did I know they were gonna make me take a new picture. So Vase goes to get my ID. He ends up having to sit there for a picture, and there it is, me with his picture on my ID for a whole year.
yeah,
It took me a year to be able to have time to go and replace it with my picture, which was just
Yeah, so
crazy.
Gio was driving around with my picture on his ID, and no one ever noticed because we're
No one ever
twins,
knows
right?
that.
So I guess we guess it didn't matter, and it sure didn't. That's one. That's definitely one of our twin stories. We got other twin stories. My favorite one by far is when we were teenagers. We were in high school, and we went with some buddies to a Chinese buffet, and we were dressed alike. And you went inside. I stayed in the car. You went inside with our buddies and ate as much as you could. And then you're like, "Oh, I got to go to the car and get my wallet." And you went outside and you tagged me in, like tag team wrestling. You
Our
tagged me
friends
in.
tripped out on that
So
so
good,
much for
dude. I
so
went
long.
inside and I just start eating again. And I remember the lady was looking at me like she couldn't believe just how much I was eating. So we always said being a twin always gets you 2 for 1 at the Chinese buffet, which is freaking hilarious. um,
Yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, we do have a lot of great stories. But no, if you hit me, he doesn't feel it. Although we've had some moments of like synchronicity, where we happen to do the same things on the same day or whatever, or we both get hurt, like pull our leg muscle or whatever the same day. But I don't attribute that to being twins in any way.
Yeah, yeah. There was one other thing that we did, which was when I started dating my current wife. We had to go to one of her friends who were getting married in Canada,
In
and
Canada. Yeah.
I couldn't get
The
my
passport.
passport quick enough, so I ended up
Oh.
borrowing yours. And so you've been to Canada, quote unquote, and we're saying this on live, we're saying this on public live stream. Uh, but let's just say you've been to Canada. You quote unquote took my place and went to Canada with her.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, being a twin can be fun, definitely, but there's always tropes, things that people say to you that are just like a recurring thing that you get asked all the time, and the same
Yeah,
questions and
yeah.
things like that. Then you have people, haters online, that are like, "Oh, you guys sound alike. How are you doing a stream together? I can't tell who's talking." Sorry,
we
what can
we
we do?
don't quite sound alike. You can tell us apart after speaking with both of us at the same time for just a few minutes. You eventually can tell who's who's saying what.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
so
So, next question is what's your favorite vengeance movie? So there are plenty of vengeance movies out there, and lots of great ones. The two that most people think about when they think of vengeance movies is Kill Bill and John Wick. But those are included in the batch if you want to pick one of those. What is your favorite vengeance movie?
all right, so I'm having to cheat here a little bit because I off the top of my head I can't really think of the movie. So on this list that I found here, Gladiator, that's a great one.
Gladiator is
Uh,
a vengeance film. Yeah, yeah, that's a great one.
yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
good one.
great one. Coming back, man, and like getting back at the people who put them there. Really, really great example. Unforgiven is listed as a vengeance
Yeah, that
movie.
actually is my pick,
Yeah,
and that is definitely a vengeance film. So for me, Unforgiven is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top three. My top
yeah,
three shifts based on my mood. For those of you who aren't aware of this, um, Watchmen, Unforgiven, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Those are my three favorite films of all time, and they shift back and forth from number one to number three. But it's always those three, right? Watchmen because it's just a great noir slash superhero film that it kind of what do they call that sub what is that word, subverts, it
oh,
subverts
subverts. Yeah,
your
okay,
expectations, and it's great. So Watchmen's great, but as far as Vengeance, Unforgiven is so good. It's a western. It's basically deals with a lot of different themes, like the theme of aging, right? And
yeah,
being at the top of your game on your prime, and then having a younger generation take over those things, and now where are you left when you've stepped away from your favorite, or what defined your life, right, when you were in your prime. There's certain things that defined your life, and now you stepped away from it and had started a new life as an older person. But now when you step back into that, where do you fit in, right? Also has
Right.
a few other themes like the themes of legend, and
Yeah.
reputation. So specifically legend, how something that you've done, some deeds that you've done can turn into legend and stories will carry on through different people. And those stories may be exaggerated or they may not be. What is true and what is not in the legend of someone who was once, at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Not to spoil the movie, but let's just say that the legends were true for one of the characters. But in the end, the main theme of the movie is vengeance because
Yeah.
the characters they get hired. They're basically mercenaries. So think of D&D characters, right? They're paid to do a job. So they are mercenaries. They heard that there's a job to do to kill some people who did a woman wrong. But then certain things happen to a few of the characters. And our main protagonist then, like, he has come back from being, this legendary person that everyone was scared of to just this weak and frail old man that nobody respects. And everyone's like, there's no way you were that person. Like, you are just pathetic, this, that, and the other, right? And it's not until something happens to his closest friends that then that fire starts to burn inside and the true version of him comes out, and all the legends that you heard about him end up being true. So it's just such a cool journey, and it's why it's one of my favorite films. I mean, all the themes are represented so perfectly in this
Yeah.
film. It's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah. For sure. This has V for Vendetta listed. That was great. Based
I
on a
mean,
comic
the
book.
word vendetta is in the title, so
Yeah.
100% it is a movie about vengeance.
Yeah.
There are
Uh,
more themes to it. There's themes of like government control, authoritarianism, and things like that.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
vengeance is in the centerpiece. It is the centerpiece of the
Yeah.
film.
And there's a movie I'd forgotten about, um, which is different. It's Vengeance in a different way. Sleepers. You remember Sleepers?
Yeah,
Had an
Sleepers
all-star
is
cast.
about vengeance. They were
Yeah.
these guys when they were kids, they were put in
Yeah, they
like a
accidentally hurt somebody, killed somebody, because they were fooling
did
around,
they
these
though?
boys. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then they
they
got put
were
into like a
playing a prank on a
juvenile.
hot dog vendor, and then he
That's
was
what it was. Yeah,
chasing
the
them.
hot dog vendor.
And yeah, and the hot dog cart ends up falling down the stairs, like 2 flights of stairs, and kills the guy.
Yeah,
So then, and there were these boys, so of course, boys being boys, and they were just playing a prank, but this happens, and they end up getting put in a correctional facility for children, and they get abused by one of the guards,
yeah.
and
Which after what Kevin Bacon is such a good actor that after watching that movie, I always saw him as creepy.
yeah.
After that film, I always thought Lua was in love with Kevin Bacon for a while. Um,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, that's hilarious.
but dude, I always saw him as creepy. Even though I still love a bunch of his movies and I think he's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
actor, that movie he did such a good job
He
that it
did a
just
great, oh
never
my
went
gosh,
away.
yeah. He sold it, man, big time.
Yeah. But yeah, Sleepers, what's great about that movie is part of vengeance. It's not just like of a great vengeance story. It's not just, oh, this person did me wrong, I'm going there and I'm just going to kill him one, two, three, right? It is the long-term plotting that makes it great. V for Vendetta does that. um Sleepers does that great because they have this plan to enact their
Man,
revenge. It's not just we're going to turn
amazing.
around and kill them back or hurt them back or whatever. It is this process, this long form where people are
Meticulously
taking,
planned.
yeah, meticulously planned, and some of the participants, they know that things are going to go bad for them, but they're willing to take that
Yeah,
in order to enact their revenge because it's so ingrained in them that fires burn so strongly that that is
yeah.
the most important thing in their lives, even beyond their own personal safety. And
Yeah, that was a great movie.
yeah,
Very good movie.
yep.
Um, yeah,
And
so I think
it kind of deals a little bit with the doubts revolving around vengeance because there are characters that talk to, like, the main characters who were part of the experience of being in this juvenile detention center all kind of have the same mentality or close to it, right? And then there are other characters that have come and learned of a few of the things that have happened and are friends or lovers of these characters, and
yeah,
they're kind of like the reasoning, like the reasonable people who don't understand just how
yep,
bad things were, and so they're trying to pull these people away from their vengeance arc. But it's almost like, and then you can see the characters are kind of going through this internal struggle of whether they're doing the right thing or not.
Yeah.
And it kind of really delves into that pretty deeply in a way that
Yeah.
is really interesting.
And
It's
how
not
these
explored a
events
whole lot.
affected each of the characters, each of the main characters, is different.
Mhm.
And just like real life, not all of them would have grown up the same, broken person or whatever. A lot of them became very successful, and then they because of that success in their life, they were able to achieve the exacting of this revenge because they had the resources, they had the contacts, to be able to get this ball rolling.
Yeah, and
It's a
that's one of
really
the
well
things
done movie.
we tried to integrate into the game, because as you're going through your vengeance arc, you're going to experience loss, whether it's physical or mental, scars, mental, loss of limbs, loss of mental capacity, or loss of you know some of your inhibitions that prevent you from
Yeah.
doing terrible things. And eventually you can become the villain, right? And that's one of the things that's explored in Sleepers, is like, are we now the bad guys? Are we doing the right thing? And yeah, this is explored in Left for the Vultures. All these aspects, I wanted to make it part of the game, and I wanted to have it done so in a mechanical way where it wasn't too intrusive mechanically, but it definitely inspires your storytelling of your own character's vengeance arc. And I think that we were able to achieve it. For those who are just joining us, thank you guys very much for joining. I see people have been popping in and out to this launch party. We are launching Left for the Vultures. We just launched 37 minutes ago, and we have 14 backers at over $1,000, which is freaking
Excuse me.
amazing. I can't believe it. This is
Yeah.
awesome. In
Oh,
less than
and
an
you know
hour.
what? Let me throw the link to the Kickstarter in the chat just in case,
Great
because
idea,
you know what?
actually.
Why not? um, so that people can, if they don't know what we're talking about, they can go check it out. But yeah, uh, it's really really interesting because a lot of our influences, our life influences, our life experiences, have all gone into molding this game, and I think that's what makes it so special to us, because of course revenge movies, but also there are a lot of elements of horror, and we're huge horror fans, and
Yeah.
we had a lot of horror influence going to this as well. A lot of the lore, because this world is rich with lore. There's a whole world book that explores a lot of the lore of this land, and much of it is very rooted in horror,
Oh yeah.
and
We love horror, and
yeah, and tragedy
definitely rooted
too.
in horror.
Yeah, a lot of tragic stories, a lot of just classic horror, some cosmic horror as well. There's a lot of really neat things that have gone into this, and other things have influence, of course. I'm big with comic books, so a lot of the comic books, a lot of the tropes in comic books, a lot of comic book stories, classic stories have gone into inspirations for adventures and content for this uh, uh, game. Um, we have places we've been to that have influence. We've seen places and we're like, oh my gosh, this place is so cool.
Hmm.
And it inspires this whole story in our head about, hey, there's these pillars here. Nobody knows what they are. Hey, you know what? Let's put that in the game and let's make it something
Yeah.
really interesting. And we have a lot of locations like that throughout the world, uh, different forests, bogs, ruins, all sorts of things, even creatures. We have a lot of lore that can make this game much more than just a hack and slash. Because that's, I think, one of the things that got me disillusioned first, with when we were playing second edition. We played for so many years, and then we just stopped suddenly. And I think it was because at first we really put a lot into the storytelling, but because we were playing it so often, we were basically just going through the motions, and a lot of the
Hmm.
combat was just hack and slash. Just roll, okay, 5 damage, okay, thanks. All right, I'm at
We were
three.
just trying to get through it without
Yeah,
having to waste time calculating numbers and things like that. But before we continue on to the lore and all these other things, I'm not going to let you get by without giving the answer.
of what?
Your Vengeance movie. You went through a few. You mentioned some Vengeance movies, but you didn't actually
Uh,
say which one yours was.
hmm.
You see? You see?
um,
That tells me you didn't give the answer.
I
Because you're clearly still thinking about it. You're trying to just
I
delay,
because it's
delay,
so
delay.
hard to choose one, and
Just
then you
pick
have, of
one.
course, the 70s vengeance movies were all a woman was like tortured and beaten or whatever and left for
Oh
dead,
God,
like
I
I
spit
spit
on
on
your
your
grave.
grave
That's a
and
crazy movie.
Last House on the Left, things like
Totally
that,
crazy movie.
which were really, really crazy, really explicit. Uh, oh, Taken,
Taken,
Taken, Taken.
Taken, like the guy.
I
I
have a
got
certain
special
set
set
of
of
skills. They take his
skills.
daughter.
That's usually not brought up in, but that is 100% a vengeance film.
Yes, I would name Taken. I think
Hmm.
I mean, it's so classic, so iconic. Like this freaking you mess with the wrong person. Just like I think Taken inspired John Wick.
Probably,
Where
yeah, probably
yeah,
did. You know what? Now that you mentioned Taken, there was a movie with Kevin Bacon that was inspired by Taxi Driver, whereas 100%. So it's like his son gets killed by a gang
hmm,
in California, in LA. They're at a gas station. His son is killed, and then he like shaves his head. It's kind of like very reminiscent of Taxi Driver in terms of the process, like when he just finally shaves his head and just doesn't care anymore. Like
yeah.
it's actually a really good movie with Kevin Bacon. It's definitely a vengeance film, like beginning to
Yeah.
end. Super
I'm going to
good.
interrupt real quick. We have a question on the Kickstarter page.
Okay.
Says it's from a user, freaking carpet. It says, "Hi, love the concept of this. I'm very intrigued by how fun it could be to play an undead awakening stronger and stronger, and we'll clarify that in just a moment. You don't plan on shipping the physical format outside of the USA?"
Okay. So initially, no, we weren't because shipping costs have gotten so expensive. It's like you guys have no idea. It's ridiculous. I've been shipping Isuzu, Hara Isuzu landing my last Kickstarter, um, and when the campaign first finished, shipping to, let's say, Australia would cost me to ship just the book maybe $30, but now it costs me about $85 to ship to Australia just a book.
Which is nuts, man.
So this
$85 for a
book that
book.
costs $65 retail, and for the Kickstarter backers it was like $40, right? You pay $40, but it's costing me 85 to ship it, and I charged $20 to those people to ship to Australia because I was going to subsidize. It costs about $30. I was going to subsidize and take the hit on the difference, right? But taking a $50 hit when the book cost, they paid less than 50. So I'm actually upside down on this by a lot. Like every book that I ship
Yeah.
internationally was costing out of my pocket an additional 25 to $30, right? And that's brutal because if I sell 100 of those, it's thousands of dollars that I'm paying to, and that's just 100 books, right? So initially the answer was going to be just shipping in the US only for physical products. I've softened the position, but I made it very clear in the Kickstarter page. If you look in the FAQs and if you look in the shipping section, we're charging a little bit higher for shipping. So like, let's say for example, Australia, I think I'm charging $50 for just the book to Australia. Very high shipping cost, but I'm still subsidizing it because it's still going to cost me more than $50 to ship it
Yeah.
to
Which is
Australia. So
crazy.
it's still going to hurt me, right? But it's also going to hurt you if you're buying the book. If you really want it, I appreciate the question because I wish I can get this out to more people. But
Yeah.
the campaign would need to be like over $100,000 for me to establish a distribution point in Europe that would make it a little bit cheaper to ship to Europe. And this project is not going to hit 100,000. Let's just be honest, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do that. So just keep an eye out on what the estimated cost is going to be internationally because you will be paying quite a bit to have it shipped to another country. I'm okay doing it. I'm okay taking a hit doing it, but just understand that we're all going to lose money on the prospect. Um, which again is fine if you want to play the game. It may be worthwhile for you, and I know I would probably pay it because I love this game. But
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know I'm being real here. I
Yeah. But
wish that
just
I could do it.
contact us, and I don't know how I can respond to them here. It's not allowing me to open messages on Kickstarter base. So if you could respond to
Let me see if I
that
can.
backer.
I
But yeah,
have to stop the display
Oh, the
here for
sharing.
now.
Yeah, for sure.
So go ahead and talk about something while I respond to this guy.
So yeah, well, since we're on that topic, horror, so let's explore what kind of horror movies have inspired us and which influences may have gotten into this game. And I myself, and I know Vase as well, are very influenced by 70s horror movies. We love that 70s horror uh, aesthetic, from the Hammer films of classic horror, Vampire, Dracula, and whatnot, to really crazy out there uh, films like Burnt Offerings. If you haven't heard of it, there were a lot of haunted house movies in the 70s. Of course, the Amityville Horror. Burnt Offerings is probably my favorite haunted house movie. It's really, really interesting because um, it, I think it influenced Vase significantly with the hag idea because there's I'm going to spoil it, but it's from the 70s. So if you haven't watched it yet, I mean, definitely go watch it, rent it, watch it. It's great, even if you know this spoiler. But one of the people, so this family moves into this like old house, this mansion, kind of a castle almost, and it's haunted. So things start getting corrupted little by little throughout the entire house, including the people. And this lady, not old lady, this lady, I think the mom of the little boy, starts changing and getting older. Her hair starts turning white. She starts getting wrinkly. And by the end of the movie, she is this old crone, like a hag. And it freaks everybody out in the house. And it was so well done. You just have to watch this movie. And then the ending is this big shock ending, as a lot of the 70s movies had a twist ending or a shock ending that you weren't expecting, which they've tried to do. It's gotten popular again in modern movies, but I don't think they do it as well in modern movies because a lot of the twists are expected. I think Scream may have been the most recent modern movie that people didn't expect to have a such a twist, like two killers or whatever. But most of the twists in movies nowadays are very predictable. By the end, it happens, and half the audience is like, "Oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen." Of course, or they start saying it right before it's revealed. Oh, this person is. It turns out this is going to be the mother of the guy, and it's sure enough.
Yeah.
But even the 70s movies, you watch them today, the twists are not like that at all. I mean, you remember Sleepaway Camp?
Oh my
guy,
God, that was a
the guy
crazy
comes
twist at
out
the end.
and it's like, what? It's
Spoiler
not
alert.
at all what you think. It's this
Mm.
shocker. You got to see Sleepaway Camp. There's another movie, I forgot what it's called, where it's about these hillbillies, right? And then
Yeah. What's funny about before you get to the
yeah,
hillbillies, the Sleepaway Camp, what's funny about that movie is the way the twist works at the end made it so that you really couldn't make any of the sequels as impactful as the first movie.
heck,
Kind of like
Friday the
what
13th.
happened to Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
But Friday the 13th was able to switch and shift the
to
narrative into
supernatural.
something
Yeah, to
different.
something supernatural where the first one was not.
Yeah. And but Sleepaway Camp did not do that. They kept trying to do the same thing over and over. And so the sequels weren't as good
Yeah,
because that twist was so insane that you just when you watch the second one or the third one, nothing could shock you the way that did. But anyway,
yeah.
sorry, the hillbilly movie. So what's this
Yeah, so
movie?
there's this movie of these hillbillies and they like they torture and kill people who like wander off into their property or whatever. And it was a popular movie in the day. And
The Hills Have Eyes.
no.
You talking
It,
about 20,000 Maniacs?
no, it was 10,000 Maniacs. And no,
Well, there's
not
also
that.
20,000 Maniacs, which was the
Yeah, that's
sequel.
part two. Um, no, it wasn't that either. What was it called? It'll come back to me later, and I'll post it in the comment section of this video. But basically, um, one of the ladies in there, she's like the mom of these hillbillies, right? And they're like crazy, and they go kill people and whatever, and torture people. And she's directing them, but she is terrified of her sister. I forgot the name of the sister, was hilarious, but she's always talking about the sister, and the whole movie you think that this is all in her mind, in her like imagination, because she's
Hmm.
like, oh, I saw her, she's been watching me at night. And they never show the sister, so and nobody else sees the sister, so everybody thinks that this lady's just imagining, and you like kind of convince yourself, yeah, she's just imagining it. So then at the end, this huge shocker where the sister comes out. She's like this feral woman, all dirty, her hair all frizzy, her
Oh, kind
clothes
of
all
like
tattered,
Barbarian.
and she jumps out, and it's just such a, you're like, oh my god, so it was true, this freaking lady. Oh
What
my
movie
god.
was that? I don't think I've
Oh,
seen
let me
that.
see if I can look it up. So
Did we watch that together?
no, I don't think actually, maybe we watched it with Kent at one point, but I rented it very recently. Because I started watching, there's this guy who does drive-in something or other. It's a show, and now
Mhm.
now it's on that
Amazon Prime.
horror streaming service, Shutter.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
he Billy Bob or something, Jim Bob,
Mhm.
he does this show, the drive-in horror show. That's They play these classic horror movies, and you want to start watching from the beginning. I've seen some really great movies. um and he played this one, and I was like, wow, this was so good. Classic freaking 70s,
That's
man.
crazy. I've never heard of it. Sounds
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, I love movies like that. That's crazy. You still have not answered the question.
I did.
Yeah, which one did you pick?
I told you. I said Taken.
Oh, Taken. Okay, I know you just were like you said Taken. Oh, that's a Vengeance movie, but I know that that was the one you picked.
Yeah.
Okay, you're off the hook. So, um, someone asked in 5e, fifth edition D&D, what's your favorite adventure module? And what's your favorite adventure for any game, not necessarily 5e? Interesting.
Mm.
I guess I could answer first. For 5e, my favorite adventure module is Out of the Abyss. It's not perfect, so I understand if that's not your favorite, whoever is listening, because there are definitely issues with the writing and the pacing and all that stuff. But the story as a whole, I think, was really cool, and the way the scenario plays out, the adventure plays out, it's pretty cool, and definitely the most memorable games for fifth edition that I've ever played came from that campaign. So how can I not choose that one? And then obviously not counting my own horror issues and lending, right? So or any of ours. So we're not putting our adventures or campaigns into these favorites, right? Um Now the other question, what's your favorite adventure for any game? Now that one's a little bit tougher. I think hmm see that this one has me thinking now, just kind of how you were thinking. Answer the 5e question while I think about this answer then. What's your favorite 5e adventure?
Uh, well, probably, well, other than Ishizu, the official, I would say, Rime of the Frost Maiden. And really, not because it was such a great adventure, is because you threw in this town in the middle of the adventure,
Oh
that was
yeah, the
not part
false
of the
hydra.
official campaign, and it was so cool. This town being controlled by some creature.
The
No,
false hydra.
yeah, false hydra. We didn't know what the heck was going on, who it was, what it was, and it was this huge mystery. But the way it played out, the horror elements and the mystery of it, it was just so perfect. So really, that's the only reason I pick
Mm.
Rime of the Frost Maiden. I did enjoy the rest of the adventure, not that it was bad at all, um, but that just made it just so great.
For non 5e, I think I'm gonna go with Ladybug, Ladybug, Fly Away, and that is a actually a Call of Cthulhu adventure made by a third party company. And this adventure though takes place in modern times. So when I ran it, I've ran it twice. When I ran it both times, I ran it for Delta Green as opposed to Call of Cthulhu because it takes place in modern times and it has to do with the Cthulhu mythos. But it's so well done. It's like this little girl gets abducted in a Walmart, and then it kind of leads into the investigation leads and opens a can of worms regarding this cult that worships this mysterious god. And then like the cult has a website, and then someone not from the company that made this adventure, but just someone who loved the adventure made the website in real life, so you can actually visit the website that's in the adventure and do kind of like
That's
breaking the
cool.
fourth wall, where the players can go and visit this website and explore it in real life, and as if their characters are exploring this website, which is got some like it's raining frogs on the screen and things like that. And it's the raining frogs is part of like one of the elements of this whole cult activity. And so it's really really cool. I think that's by far my favorite non D&D adventure that I've ever played. It played out so good, and we had so many memorable moments. I know Steve, who plays in my Wednesday group, uh, his character was a sharpshooter and had like an 80% chance to nail any shot with a gun, right? Which is the highest you can get in Delta Green. And so they were trying to rescue the little girl, and he goes and aims, but he's doing a called shot, which gives him a penalty, but taking the moment to aim gives him a bonus. But even with that, he's had like a 70-some% chance to get everything done. And he ends up taking the shot and rolls a crit fail, which means he shot the little girl in the face, killing
Oh my
her.
god.
The one that they were supposed to rescue for this adventure. And they kill her, and then it just completely set the adventure off into a whole different, a completely different path, which made it super fun. So I think that Ladybug, Ladybug, Fly Away Home, or I think it may just be called Ladybug, Ladybug. It's so good. It's such a
um,
good adventure. I highly recommend it for anyone who's playing the either Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green. What about yours, Gio?
um outside of D&D, that's tough, man. Let me think. Jeez. What other campaigns? Uh, Man, that's a tough one, man. We may have to come back around to that.
No worries. What game have you played? What tabletop role playing game have you played that or that I'm sorry, what game have you not played that you're most excited about?
Mm, interesting. Game have I not played? Tabletop role playing game.
Tabletop role playing game.
um, Jeez, man, these are tough questions, man. Really put me on the spot here.
Well, I'll answer first then. So
Yeah.
for me, I have a bunch of games that I bought that I haven't played. Um, but I think of all of them, probably I would say Dragonbane. I think Dragonbane seems like a really fun game. I don't think it's a good game for a long term type of campaign, but I think if you're running a short, like maybe 4 session or 6 session campaign, it's a great game. I took a lot of inspiration for Left for the Vultures mechanics from Dragonbane. For example, the one action economy, the way the enemies work in terms of the stat blocks and their abilities and the randomness of certain abilities. I took a lot of that from Dragonbane. It's a really cool game and really really interesting, but we haven't gotten around to playing it with our group yet.
Yeah. Actually, one that you've talked about, I'm very curious about, is Morkborg, where where the deaths are over the top, and it sounds like a great party game, great
Yeah,
casual party game. I would love to play that at a party. How we used to play during the a lot of people used to do this during the pandemic and play those games, those board games online or whatever, with the
right. Yeah, yeah,
trivia
like the
games or whatever.
Jackbox
Jackbox
games.
games,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like it would be that kind of fun, like just over the top, people screaming and cheering, and
Yeah, it seems fun in that way. I definitely would not. And I know there's a lot of the board games because they have a really open game license, and so a lot of games has spawned from it. You
mm,
have like Pirate Board. That's actually, I think, even more popular than Morkborg now. And it's not made by the company; it's made by a third party. But Pirate Board is really popular. You have Cyborg. There's a bunch of board games that they've made that are just using the same rules as Merkborg.
mm,
But I think, like you said, good for a party game, good for a one shot.
yeah.
But because your characters are so disposable and the world is ending, so part of the concept of that game is the world is going to end in 7 days. So you're already going to
Oh, yeah.
die. You know what I mean? So there's not a whole lot that you can do about it.
Yeah,
Um,
there's no
which
expectation that your character is gonna go live a long life and have a huge story arc of redemption or whatnot.
yeah, so again, it seems fun like for a party game, but I don't think that's a game that I would want to play repeatedly over and over. Even if we start new, let's say you do a one shot here, or three session one shot type thing here and there, and just keep playing it repeatedly. I don't think that would be my main game. I don't understand people who would make that their main most you know or their favorite game, that they play the most.
Yeah,
It just seems too like too casual and too like throwaway, especially the characters. That I just can't imagine anyone wanting to, or getting that itch to play every week when you have to constantly make new characters because your characters keep dying. Like it's fun
yeah,
one or two times, but when it happens every week and you're constantly losing characters, I feel
mm,
like that gets old really, really quick.
yeah,
But I mean, that's just me. But the game seems fun, so that's a really good choice actually. Um, Speaking of games, someone asked about video games. Do we play video games? And if we do, what's our favorite video game?
yeah. Like with movies and stuff. See, the thing with movies and TV shows, I can draw while I watch them. Um, with video games, I can't because my hands have to be busy too. So I really have not played a video game. We got really into that Marvel game and the Iron Maiden game for a while on the
Those are
cell
mobile
phone
games for
mobile
those
game.
who don't know.
But that was years ago, man. That was before the pandemic even. And since then, I have not picked up any video game
Hmm.
whatsoever. Uh, so
Of the ones you
no,
played in the past, though, was there one that you really liked, like City of Heroes or?
City of Heroes was great. That was a blast. And of course, Marvel vs. Capcom is probably my favorite game of all time because it was just fast. The graphics and animation were really cool because it was comic book style. It wasn't this realism style of like Mortal Kombat that I
Yeah,
really don't like.
that never appealed to me.
It
The
never
Mortal
appealed to
Kombat,
me. Yeah.
and what was the other Tekken, like that
Tekken.
used like real actors
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, that seemed like an interesting concept, but Marvel vs. Capcom was more comic book art style. It just the cartoony style was smoother. It was just more appealing visually to me
Yeah.
and gameplay wise than something like Mortal Kombat and Tekken. Um, but yeah, for me, I think my favorite game is, as far as like from all time. I really liked Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That was really good.
Hmm.
That was from the original PlayStation. It was a 2D scroller. They hadn't done one of those in a while, and
Yeah.
the graphics were really cool. It was really, you know, a really cool throwback back then. Also, nowadays, Divinity, not Destiny, Divinity Original Sin 2. It's actually the company that made Baldur's Gate 3 that made Divinity Original Sin 2. And a lot of the same like assets for like the locations and even some of the characters and even parts of the stories were taken from Divinity to make Baldur's Gate. They like, kind of borrowed a lot of the stuff from it.
Hmm.
So Baldur's Gate 3 is almost like a alternate version of Divinity Original Sin 2. But what's cool about Divinity is they didn't use the rules for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And that's what I think I liked so much about it. They use their own system,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to throw shade at 5e. That's not my intent at all with this.
Yeah.
What I love about it is just their system for character generation and advancement is so interesting and cool. And also kind of reminds me of Left for the Vultures. Now, it didn't inspire Left for the Vultures because the game was pretty much done by the time I started playing Divinity Original Sin 2. So
Hmm.
it's just coincidence that it's kind of similar in that way. But basically, how it works is you don't choose a character class, just like in Left for the Vultures. You make a character and then you pick different skills and abilities that you're good at. And you can make one stronger. So, like, you could have a skill necromancy and have some necromancy spells, and you can really focus on that and get more skills and get more powerful necromancy. Or you can diversify and have necromancy as well as like increase your strength and your armor. And just
Yeah.
like with Left for the Vultures, any character can wear any armor as long as they meet the
Oh, that's
requirements of
good.
strength and endurance.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as I'm playing it, I'm like, oh my god, this reminds me a lot of how Left for the Vultures works. Um, even just in some of the abilities that are just like really like dark, it reminds me of Left for the Vultures, just like like Vein Puppet or Carcass
Yeah.
and things like that. The spells that you really like
And yeah,
Divinity
I mean,
Original
that's one
Sin
of the
2.
things about this game that like really sets it apart. I think I've never seen a game with spell, because so many of the role playing games, especially fantasy role playing games, um, are just clones of D&D with the spells. There's not a lot of variety. They just rename it or whatever, and they all have a magic missile. They all have a
Yeah,
lightning bolt or a fireball, and like it, none of them have something innovative. And there's so many things you can do. I
it's
mean,
very
it's magic,
generic.
man. It's freaking magic.
Yeah,
Like come up with something really different. and
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what I love that you did here with Vein Puppet and the Ever-Growing Teeth and Carcass and so many other spells that are just standouts, man.
Yeah, yeah. It. I wanted it to be really dark and unique like that. And Divinity Original Sin has a lot of spells that are kind of like have things like that. Like there's one where whenever you step on blood, you heal just automatically and things like that. But it's funny. Again, a lot of the things seem similar to my game, but I didn't. I never played that game. I made Left for the Vultures almost 3 years ago and have been modifying. And I just started playing Divinity Original Sin 2 like 2 months ago, and I'm really loving it. It's Baldur's Gate 3, but with a better character creation system and character
That's cool.
advancement system. You can absolutely customize your character in any way you want, and it's super cool. And the story is really interesting so far. So that's a really fun game. Um, and then speaking of that, we'll broaden the question to storytelling. What is your favorite genre of storytelling, Gio?
Oh, hands down horror. I love horror in every respect. Pretty much every iteration of horror, even the overdone slasher, because I think you can still, even with a slasher story, you can kind of make it interesting. Even with a zombie story, you can make it interesting. And that's been so overdone. Um, and just I think even those that have been overdone, that those are probably the best ones to tackle to create a new story on, because that's the challenge, right?
Mhm.
How can you think outside of that box and create something completely different and new and fresh? And those are the things I think that captivate audiences, is when you're able to present something new that they didn't expect, that they didn't think could be done,
Yeah.
or they would never think of. And for example, like the zombie thing, right? So I wrote a story long time ago. Wow, man, it would have been almost 20 years ago, and I called it the Somnambulist. And then I posted it in the writing groups, and nobody got it, and it blew my mind. I'm like, man, come on, zombie somnambulist being a sleepwalker. So it starts with this lady. She's walking through the streets, right, and she's naked. She's just walking through, kind of hobbling, and everybody's looking at her thinking, "Oh my god, it's a zombie." And a lot of people are freaking out. The cops come and surround her, and all these things are going on. And I don't remember all the details because it's written so long ago, and I haven't gone back and read it. But and of course, in the end, she was sleepwalking, and
Hmm.
that's the kind of thing where, oh, it's a zombie story, but it isn't. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. That's very similar to something that happened in Washington, I think in Seattle. This lady, this was a few years ago. This lady was walking around the streets, just with torn clothing and just, and they called her the zombie lady. And there's video of her. People were scared, like they didn't know what the hell. She wasn't saying anything. They called the cops, and they were all like scared of her, and like she just something about her. And then I think she tried to bite someone, and like people are like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
this is
gosh.
a zombie, like real life zombie." But apparently, she was on some kind of drug, meth or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it happens a lot up here in the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot of druggies. that act that way. So it's not super uncommon here, but the way that the video was and the story behind it when it first came out, people were thinking that an actual zombie lady was walking the streets of Seattle, which was so funny. Um, but yeah, yeah. So I agree. My favorite genre for storytelling is also horror. I just think horror is, for me, it it takes me to a place that is so far beyond reality that it really sparks my imagination and creativity, unlike anything else. And I
Yeah.
know fantasy kind of does that for some people, and fantasy, I love playing fantasy games. It's my favorite. I'd rather play a fantasy game than a horror game, but um fantasy, it has this fantastical element, right, where you're creating things and it's happy go lucky, but
Yeah.
horror just has that tension, and it brings out almost that primal instinct of that humanity has in
That's what I
almost
was gonna
every
say.
genre
It's
of.
is more primal. It gets
Yeah,
you to your core because I mean, what is more primal than that? Than being afraid? I
yeah,
mean, it's all about survival, right? In life, the first humans, it would have been everything would have been horrifying. I mean, imagine the first time you see a freaking hippo or even a cow. The first time you see a freaking cow, that thing is massive,
yeah.
and it makes a weird ass noise, and you're like, "Wow, is this thing gonna eat me or what?" And your
Yep.
brain creates all these crazy stories
Yeah, and
because
so
of that.
I think that's why horror is such an appealing genre for me, because it definitely it taps into something that's not tapped into on a regular daily basis. Living in Western society, you don't really experience horror the way that our ancestors did. Like you
Yeah,
said, when you're living inside a cavern, and anytime you step out of that cavern, you could die because anything can come at you, right? um, these days, sure, yeah, you can step outside and die because of a car accident, but it's not horror. You're not like constantly going, "Oh my god, there's a car coming." You know what I mean? Whereas if you step outside and there's a freaking grizzly bear, that is every single time that happens. You're like, "Oh my god, there's a grizzly bear." When you see a car coming, you don't think, "Oh, that thing's gonna kill me." So
yeah,
the horror is different. It's different, and you don't get to experience it in modern times the way that you did back in those times. And I
yeah,
think that is ingrained in us. It's part of our nature. It's part of our instinct, and it horror allows that to come out.
yeah,
And even fantasy, you're a wizard and I can fly and shoot a fireball from the sky. It's fun, but it doesn't bring anything else out in
yeah,
terms of that innate primal instinct that humanity has now kind of subdued a little bit and we don't experience on a daily basis. So I
yeah.
think because of those reasons, horror definitely does take the cake in terms of my favorite genre for storytelling.
And
No
so many
question about
you mentioned the bear. So many people have lost that primal instinct because it should be a freaking instinct when you see a dangerous animal. There's a video I saw of a lady who just all these people are standing around and there's like some kind of bison or something trotting through it like some national park and this lady is just obliviously walking straight to it and you see so many videos like this, people approaching these animals in the
it. Oh
wild or
my
in the
god.
national parks. And because, like, are you that detached from reality, from your natural instincts, that you do not realize how deep you are in danger when you are
Yeah.
in the presence of any of these animals? That's why, like, in your game, what I appreciate is that anything can kill you. I mean, in D&D, you face a black widow spider, it doesn't affect you. In
Yeah.
a lot of games, you face a platypus and oh, it's so cute and you pet it. But a freaking platypus will kill you because they're poisonous. They're
Yeah.
venomous. And, a little blue ring octopus can kill you. A freaking bear will destroy you and tear you to bits.
Yeah.
Um, and
Oh,
and
in my game, you fight a bear by yourself, you're not going to live.
you're not going to
There's
survive.
there the chances of you surviving are very low if you're by
Yeah.
yourself against a bear in my game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of games, especially with advancement, and I think that because of the way that the advancement is designed in Left for the Vultures, that danger is there, no matter how far along you are in your campaign or in your character's arc. Whereas in other games, you kind of become immune to the lower level creatures and monsters and animals, and they become kind of a joke. Like,
yeah. I've
what?
had I've had my players, specifically in my Wednesday group. I've had one of my players. literally just do whatever he wanted in town because he knew that nothing could
Nothing
stop him.
could hurt him.
They
Yeah,
could send 300 guards after him and they wouldn't even be able to deal 1 point of damage to him.
yeah,
And he knew that. And so, like, what's to stop a hero at this point from just being a tyrant?
yeah.
Like you
It's
just walk
true.
in and you know that the guards, like in reality, you could be the most badass individual, but if 20 guards are coming at you, these are trained fighters. That should be a scary proposition that nobody should be able to survive. In
Yep.
my game, if you're by yourself against 20 guards, your chances of survival are less than 1%. I mean, you
Yeah.
can get lucky, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, even like poisons, like after a certain level in the many games, you're poisoned and it's like you laugh it off. Where it you 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 have to have that sense of danger at all times, no matter what. Look at Alexander the Great, man. He would have been a very high level character if he was a D&D character,
Yeah.
and what it kills him in the end is a freaking fever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, dude, everybody, we're fragile as humans, and I don't care how experienced you are in combat or adventuring or whatever, that danger should always be there, because that is part of what makes adventuring exciting, is the
Yeah.
fact that, hey, you don't know if you'll come back. So when you maintain that level of danger hovering over a player at all times, over a player character at all times, I think that bring it keeps the excitement there. Because yeah, I mean, you have an eighth level character in D&D walking into a cave full of uh, goblins or kobolds, and you're just gonna laugh.
Yeah. Eighth level character, you can literally kill an entire army of kobolds by yourself.
Yeah.
Like
It's,
they're not even going to touch you.
speaking of, so what experiences have you had in life that you would classify as truly terrifying? So I guess some of the scariest experiences in our lives.
Truly terrifying. I think.
I mean, there's different types of
Yeah.
terrifying. I think that, like, there's danger as in there's I wrote a paper in high school about horror and terror and the differences between horror and terror. So I think that, like, terror is more grounded in reality, whereas horror is more fantastical, I guess. And so I know I had so one of my girlfriends, we went skiing, and it was the first time I'd seen snow. We went to Colorado and we're skiing, and for the first time we're gonna go up to the bunny slopes. And so the ski lift is this like bench, right? That's on these wires, and it's carried over, and it just loops around. It never stops. It just keeps looping around, goes up the mountain and whatnot. And so when it comes by, when you're gonna hop on it to take you up to the slope that you want to get to, you have to, because it doesn't stop. It comes around, so you have to position yourself where it's going to come behind you, bump you in your butt, and that's where you sit in it, and
I
then it
will
just
never ride
carries
that
you up. And
shit.
then when you're approaching the slope that you want to get off on, usually that it comes closer to that ground. There's usually like a little hill, and you exit off and slide off there, and it keeps going. Well, so me and this girlfriend I had, we go and we run, we position ourselves, and here comes the bench, right, the lift, and it comes and it bumps me, and I fall, straight back to it. And you don't think about these things. Like, you think it's going to bump you in the butt, and your butt's naturally going to sit on the bench, and you just keep going, no problem. And you see people do it, and that's what it looks like. But no, when it bumps your butt, it bounces backwards, right? So then, if you were to try to drop down, you would fall down on the ground. But what happened was, I thought about that, and I hopped when it bumped my butt. I hopped back, I landed on the bench, but my girlfriend did not. So it bumped her butt, and it moved back just a little when I sat in it, and so she kind of slid off, but she didn't want to be left behind. She reaches back and grabs the side of it. So the lift starts going up, and she starts screaming, right? And as it goes up, then the safety bar comes down.
Oh my
The safety
god,
bar
lady,
comes
just let
down.
go of it.
Yeah, but she's hanging, and the safety bar comes down, and it goes basically over her head. She's dangling, okay, literally with one arm. I reach down, I drop the sticks, I forgot what they're called, and I'm holding her other hand, and she's literally hanging. And every second that we're going up, right, we're going up, and the distance between us and the lift, or the us and the ground, gets wider and wider.
I never
And it
knew
felt like
about this.
freaking forever as we're going up, and I was terrified because the whole time I'm thinking, dude, she's gonna plummet to her death, And then we were on vacation with her parents, and her dad was a scary guy, bro, like really scary guy. And I'm like, and this guy is just gonna freaking kill me. I'm not making it back to Florida. And dude, it felt like so like forever. I was so stressed out. She's screaming the whole time. And then finally we pull up to the bunny slopes, and there's the slope. And I just, as we get close enough, I just let go, and I said, let go, and she dropped, and she's crying. We sat there for like 15 minutes of her just bawling. And but that was really scary, man.
That's
I can
crazy.
imagine how scared she was, because holy Lord.
I did not know about that story.
Yeah.
That's insane. I would never get on one of those things. Lua actually has been wanting to go because there's a mountain right around here, Mount Hood, and she's been wanting to go and wanting to go on the little slope. I don't know why people want to do that kind of shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll stay in the restaurant in the cabin, in the lodge, and I'll wait for you guys to do your thing because I'm definitely not getting on that shit. Not gonna happen. Um, for me, probably the most horrific story is when we were kids in Panama, actually, when that old lady grabbed us and said
Dude.
that she was our grandma and started just, it was a crowded street in Calle Central, which is like a central like shopping area. And this old lady, mom called her the witch afterwards. But yeah, she just grabbed our hands.
And
We were like what, 5 years
stormed
old,
off. Yeah, she
and
stormed
she's
off.
just
And
walking with us, holding
yeah.
our hands. She was gonna freaking abduct us.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, she had an umbrella, and she, when mom like tried to, she, when she noticed that the lady grabbed us and started walking off, my mom was like, no, no, my kids, my sons. And she's chasing, and then the lady like swinging the umbrella at her, and then she
Hmm.
just stormed off. And then some guy apparently like stepped in. He's like, what's happening? And mom explained it to him, and then he kind of stepped in and
Yeah,
saved the
that
day.
that
But
was, I think, that traumatized me, and I think it's partially why I find witches and hags so terrifying, is because of our childhood experience with that. It was really really scary, and I remember I had nightmares, man, after that, like for a long time because of it. So I
yeah,
think that, yeah, by far, that's been my most horrifying
horrifying.
experience. um
I think for horror also, when mom told us, we were in Pedasi, which is what now is totally different. Have you seen Pedasi?
no.
My neighbor's best friend, my next door neighbor's best friend, bought a property there. They've turned it into a tourist location with
Really?
like these resort style. There's resorts, and then you can buy houses. The houses are like
I
super
remember when
fancy.
we would go to Pedasi, that we had to like sleep in a
It
bed with
was a,
mosquito
yeah,
net.
with mosquito net, because the windows were just a hole.
Yeah, it
And
was the hole. There was no glass
yeah,
windows.
and
Yeah,
no AC, like, yeah, and it was a small town, like what you would picture like in a movie of like old Mexican village. Like there was a town center with a little gazebo in it,
I
and then all
remember.
the buildings were around it, and there's a church in the middle, and then all the other buildings, and our house was one of the ones there. And we would stay there, and of course, because this window stayed open, and of course no street lights or anything, so at night it's pitch black, which is something that is in your game, which is really cool. And we would have a lot of nightmares, man, and we would hear things. And I
Yeah,
remember one of those nights, I don't know if it was mom or maybe it was our housekeeper, whatever her name is, um, told us about Madi, our cousin, when our cousin was our age. So, so this lady tells us, "Oh, it's probably los duendes," and then she proceeds to tell us this story about our cousin Madi when she was like 6 or 5 or 6 or
I
something.
remember this. Yeah,
Wandered off. They were having like a family get together, also in the interior of Panama, which is like the boonies. And so she, my cousin Madi, wandered off into the woods, and then apparently, so all my family really believe this, that los duendes, which translates to elves, but they're more like mischievous little creatures that are not very nice. Like they'll freaking tear you apart.
yeah.
And they kidnapped Madi, and then they spent all night looking for her, and it wasn't until sunrise that she eventually turned up, and she was all scratched up with like claw marks all over her face and arms. And I remember, man, I got a chill that I still feel to this
I
day
remember.
when I heard that story. And ever since, I was so scared of los duendes, man. that they would come get us and take us into the woods. But yeah, that was, I remember I even tried to write a story about that when I went to college for
Mhm.
writing, and the story fell flat. They kicked me out of the class because of that story, man. It wasn't
Really?
even, yeah, like they made it sound like it was the most horrible story ever written, and it was not that bad, man. I used to have to read, my peers' papers, and some of those were like, wow, dude. Ugh.
In school, I'm sorry, most of the people who thought they were great writers.
Mm-mm. Yeah, back when I was really into writing, man, when I wrote all those books, it- I did all those writing groups and stuff, and man, there is some really, when print on demand started, uh, that really destroyed the literary industry. Because yeah, the industry was controlled. There was an oligarchy because it was controlled by the big seven publishers. And basically, if you couldn't get with one of those seven publishers, you were screwed. Your book was
Yeah,
never going to get printed. However, it served as kind of a filter, man,
yeah.
because there is so much out there. It's just like how nowadays you have all these artists who are artists. Everyone's a freaking
I was
artist,
gonna
and
say that. It
yeah, and
reminds me. So I way back, like when I first started exercising a lot and got really into good shape, I bought this book on Amazon, and it was about because I was
oh,
into
you
running
showed
and
it to
go.
me. I remember.
And I bought this book on Amazon. And it had great reviews, and I'm reading it. And I'm like, this thing is. I can't read this.
It was
It's
horrible.
written so terribly. It's putting me off so much that I cannot take it seriously.
Yeah,
Who the fuck published this? And it was a self-published Amazon book, which anyone can self-publish. And
and they don't bother to find an editor. You could find an editor, for cheap.
bro, it
I
was
did
so
editing,
bad.
and for a whole book, I charged $300 to edit a 300-page book, so $1 a page, and which isn't a lot, but you could find an editor for a lot less. And I see today, even today, like you see on some of these websites, and some websites that are like newspaper websites or story websites or whatever, and they have horrible editing. Man, the
Yeah,
misspellings, the misuse of
dude.
words.
But it's one thing to just have a few misspellings here and there.
Yeah,
This book was literally illegible because
yeah, I remember.
the grammar was bad. Like I think spelling is one thing, but when your grammar is bad in almost every paragraph to the point where you're just like, dude, come on, bro. You're not even close to anything resembling a writer at this point.
Yeah.
And you put this out and you're selling your book. All right, cool. But I not to be a hater about it, but Jesus Christ, man, like put in a little bit of a freaking effort. Um,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And yeah, you're right that the public big publishers were kind of a filter because now anyone can write a book and say they're
Now,
a
if you
writer.
find a book on
But
Amazon, it's you have to really look to see who the publisher is, because there Amazon does it, so you can print on demand. You write whatever, and you can make it available on Amazon, and
yeah,
people can order it, and it prints when they order it.
yeah.
So it takes no investment, takes no money. It
Yeah,
just
you
takes
just
you writing it and
write
putting it
something
in
and put
there.
it up, quote unquote, write something. But yeah, like you mentioned the artist. I agree with that. Like I find that, and again, no shade to people who are trying to get into art, but there's so many artists these days. I'm telling you, 30 years ago, that was not a thing. Okay,
No,
for someone to want to be an artist, they actually had to be passionate. These days, they think they're going to make a quick buck. They
yeah,
go in and
that you
take a
nailed
couple
it.
of
It's the passion that's the difference.
yeah, they go in and take a course online and they think they're artists and then they go and complain nonstop about all these other artists are getting popular. Oh, AI this, AI that, and accuse everybody else of using AI. When meanwhile they're fucking mediocre. And I'm sorry, all the top artists, name a single major artist who is actually at the top of their game who has complained about AI. None of them. Why? Because they're not scared that they're gonna lose business to AI because
Yeah.
they're actually good. The ones who complain are the mediocre people. And I'm sorry, but that's the fact, right? And it's below mediocre. And again, I'm sorry. I know this is an extreme take that probably a lot of people are not going to like, but
Yeah.
um,
But it's a
and I'm trying
fact.
to sell the
Sorry,
book here, but
the truth hurts,
it's
man.
that's the fact, and it's the same with the writers. Like the writers are. Oh, your screen's going all sorts of different colors.
Is it?
Yeah, something weird's happening there.
What is going on?
But just
The
like
heck?
the Amazon thing enabling people who are not writers to think that they are writers, the same thing has happened with digital art. It has created a bunch of people who think they're artists and they're not. They don't have the passion. They're casual. They're casual artists. They're decent for being casual, but they're in no way, shape, or form someone who would back in the day be considered a professional artist. They don't have the skill level. They're not there yet.
Yeah.
And then they complain that they're not getting any I'm not getting any jobs. I'm not getting hired by authors and this, that, and the other. The reason you're not getting hired is because you're not that good. And then because they're not getting any jobs, then they go and turn, oh, it's because AI is stealing my job. No, it's not, dude. You're just not good enough. Get better. Get better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Again, I know that's super freaking controversial. I know. But like the fact is that if you're a shitty writer and people aren't buying your books, it's because you're a shitty writer. If you're a shitty artist and people aren't buying your art, it's because you're a shitty artist. And um, there is no sugarcoating that. There's no sugarcoating that
Yeah.
because if you were that good, people would be buying your shit.
Dude, what is going on with this camera, dude? What the
Yeah,
heck?
you're giving people seizures.
What is happening here?
Mhm. But yeah, we're at $1,200 out of 4,000 in
Nice.
just a couple hours since we launched. We launched, oh, actually an hour and a half. We've only launched for an hour and a half. So $1,200, 17 backers. That's really good for an hour and a half. I'm very, very happy so far with the result. I think we might hit
Heck
goal by
yeah,
the end
man.
of the day. Um,
Awesome.
so,
That would be
so
amazing. We
yeah.
have a question on our Ink and Shadow Society Discord group about the horror deed in every eye base. Can you respond to them? Because my keyboard is. They want to know if there's a recommended player limit for the adventure. I guess they mean how many players?
Which adventure?
The horror deed.
Oh, horror deed in every eye.
Yeah.
There's no limit. So that we write our adventures for 4 players plus a game master. So 4 players and a game master. But 5 players usually plays out okay around the same way.
Yeah.
Now, if you go more than 5, then you'll probably have to adjust the adventure's difficulty a little bit in order to make it interesting. But yeah, 4 players is what we're looking for generally. Can you send that response?
I'm kind of working on my camera here.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'll do that. Breezy. Oh, breezy. Um,
But yeah, so while I'm doing this, so another question. So what were we even discussing here?
art and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah, speaker. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So the art. Oh, speaking of art, one of the questions. What artists do you guys like? So we have well, I come from comic books, so I do like a lot of comic book artists, a lot of the classic 90s well, classic, right? But 90s comic artists, the big three being Jim Lee and Liefeld and McFarlane, of course. But there are other artists that have come along, more recent. Jay Lee is one in comic books that's really cool. Um, he usually does the line work, and then I think it's his partner Jane Chung colors it, and man, his pieces. He usually does covers, but he's done like full issues and stuff. He's published his own comics as well. But
Let
the
me pull up
covers,
some
man, are
J
just
Lee.
yeah. Jay Lee, I have rarely seen a bad Jay Lee piece.
Yeah,
He's
I'm a
really
fan of Jay Lee as well, for sure.
yeah,
Let
he's
me.
great. Of course, uh, Benjamin.
This is Jay Lee art.
Yeah, maybe zoom in on
Here we go.
one or two
He
of
does.
those.
It's very unique the way he draws stuff because a
It's
lot of it
usually a
is
side
just
profile. Yeah,
usually side profile, but a lot of it has like very single color,
yeah,
right? Like all this, right? All this is in shadow, just black, just black, 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 black. The rest,
and
I
it
mean, you
seems
can
so
see the skill
simple.
though. So it's
Yeah,
not that it's like lazy, it's
yeah,
just a style thing, right? It's very
yeah.
unique.
And his
But the
characters
way
are
he
usually
draws, especially the
lanky.
female figure,
Yeah, they're
is
usually
really
lanky.
cool.
But it's very, man, it's standout, man, for
Yeah,
sure, for
see that
sure.
single color there.
Um, there's also Ji Hyung Lee. If you go to Ji Hyung Lee's website, he's got so many really cool stuff things. Um, Ji
Spell it for
Hyung
me.
Lee,
G.
JeeHyung,
Let me see.
Ji Hyung Lee. Go to his website. He's got some really
Oh, his
amazing
website.
pieces. Like it's beautiful work, man. Beautiful, beautiful art. Um,
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. Um, so yeah, I mean those are the comic book artists mostly. Um, any others?
yeah, so I have some really different type of artists. So one that I mentioned when we were doing the Brush and Bone podcast is a guy who actually paints cars. He paints real cars and makes them look like something out of a comic strip. And his name is Joshua Vides. Can you pull it up?
Let's see.
Let me see if my video's working now. Ah, sweet. Okay, Joshua Vides. And what he does when you pull it up, these are real cars and they look like they're out of a comic strip, man. It's so cool. Usually in black and white. Those are two real cars he's standing in front of. And then he draws on the walls and the floor and he'll do your car like that. It's really, really different. I mean, innovate talk about innovative stuff, innovative art, I've never seen anything like it. It's really
That's
cool. He
super
even does the
cool.
interiors of the cars.
That's really awesome. I love
Yeah,
that. Obviously, the windows can't stay that way, but
yeah.
if they're going to be street legal, but that's really interesting. Really cool. Yeah, for me, my favorite artist, I am a Frazetta guy. As you guys can see behind me on the wall, you can kind of see the Frazetta piece that I have framed there.
Classic. Yep.
Um, so I'm definitely a Frazetta guy. I love fantasy art. I think fantasy art's really cool. Also, really love Johann Egerkrans. He does
Hmm.
the Dragonbane stuff, and I'll share some of his stuff because he has some very unique art. It reminds me of we were talking about this in one of our podcasts, I think with actual Dracula, but it reminds me of like the art from Hercules, the Disney
Oh
cartoon,
yeah, yeah,
where the people have very like sharp turns on their joints. Everything is just very like kind of like very monstrous and lanky, and um like there's something about the anatomy that's very unique, and
yeah,
it's very cartoony, but also it has like this kind of whimsical yet dark feel to it.
yeah,
It's hard to explain it and describe it, but it's awesome. Like the characters, like they're so like this is so fitting for what it is. Um, Even the most noble characters, like they have this kind of lanky look to them. Um, and I just love the style. And I think one thing that is unique to all the artists that we've mentioned so far, from Frazetta to Jay Lee to Johan, basically, and Joshua, is just how unique they are. It kind of reminds me of music, right? Like guitar players. A lot of people will say, "Oh, the greatest guitar player is this one person on TikTok," and why aren't they famous yet? They can play anything, right? But
yeah.
it's like they're missing that one element, which is that uniqueness, that voice, that style.
The
You know,
voice. Yep.
maybe that TikTok guitarist can run circles around Slash in terms of
Yeah.
technicality around the fretboard, but Slash, the minute he plays even one note, it is Slash playing. And that is not
Yeah.
something you can copy. The guy that can run circles around Slash in terms of the technique, when he plays a note, you cannot tell it is him because he
Yeah.
doesn't have that unique style. Meanwhile, someone like Brian May from Queen, Slash, Zach Wild, these all these
Yeah.
guitars, Adrian Smith, like you, the minute you hear them play, you know it is them playing it. Jimi Hendrix, like that, and that is what makes a great guitarist. People think it is sitting down and just and that does not make you great. Just like artists,
And it's
you can
funny
have
because
the
that's
most.
one of the things that because I actually studied in large uh, band, not like a rock band, but I mean like an orchestra style band, and every single musician in there, there were top musicians. There were some that won national awards and everything, and I always thought about it in this way. And this is why I quit band in high school, because being in band as an orchestra performer is great and you can have a lot of skill, but none of them memorized any of the songs. You always were reading off the sheet music and you
Yeah.
were playing exactly what you were seeing. And, this happens with a lot of classical artists too, and trained artists who go to art school and stuff. They come out like this, cookie cutter. And yeah,
Yeah.
you can churn out and all the theory and everything, and you can repeat and play the same piece of music exactly the same if you play it 30 times, and you'll play it exactly the same
Mhm.
every single time. But that to me is just so, you know, corporate and just stuffy. Whereas you have a blues player, someone like Dave Murray from Iron Maiden, where he didn't write his solos, he played from the heart, and every time he played, the solo was very different.
Yeah,
And you
and you can
have
feel it,
there's a blues musician I love, Eric Gales. They call him the modern day Jimi Hendrix. Um, somebody made a comment to him that was hilarious because he's black, and somebody's like, uh, "You're like Jimi Hendrix but black," and he's like, "You're like a black Jimi Hendrix." That's what they say. And he's cracking
Oh
up. He's
my
like,
god.
"Really? I've never heard that one before ever." Because what? But
People are so stupid, dude. Oh my god. But yeah, I
unbelievable.
mean, it's like um Guthrie Govan. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's a guitarist. He is anyone who's great at guitar knows who he is, and he is revered as the greatest guitarist of all time. He's still alive, um, and no one knows who he is. Really, I mean, he's somewhat famous, but people who aren't guitarists don't know. But his between technique and feel, it's insane. He is the greatest improviser of all
Who are you
time.
talking about?
Guthrie, Guthrie
Oh,
Govan.
Guthrie. Okay.
Um,
I
and,
thought you were
and
talking
it's
about
like
Buckethead.
it kind of reminds me. Yeah, I mean Buckethead. Kind of reminds me of like someone like Jaco Pastorius. Bass players know who Jaco Pastorius is, um, but people who are not bass players have never really heard of him, right? Um, so these artists, they're great, man. They're amazing. And you should look into them. But back to the whole thing about feeling. Like think about a song like I was just watching yesterday because I like watching the current Motley Crue tour. I like watching clips from it because it's just such a train. It's
Yeah.
such a train wreck. Um, they got John Five to play guitar because Mick Mars left the band because
Yeah.
he's been sick, right?
Yeah.
So it's the whole band. So they got Tommy Lee, they got Vince Neil, and they got what's his name, the main guy who started the band, Sick Nikki Six,
Nikki Six.
and then for guitar they got John Five who played with. John Five is an amazing guitar player, amazing guitar player. He played with Rob Zombie and all that stuff, right? Um, so he's actually able to replicate Mick Mars's guitar playing, right? Because he's so good. And Mick Mars is never been known as a you know top tier guitar player. He's never on any even top 100 guitar player lists, right? But yet Mick Mars is perfect for a band like Motley Crue. His guitar playing in the band Motley Crue, it was just a perfect mix. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? It's just having all the right elements in one place, kind of like Slash, right? Like Slash is not the greatest guitar player technique wise, but he plays with so much feeling and he's so unique. You know exactly who he is, and it just happened to be that when he joined Guns N' Roses, otherwise we probably would have never heard of Slash, right? But Mick Mars,
Yeah.
that song they did, Home Sweet Home.
Hmm.
The solo in Home Sweet Home is so good. There's so much feel to it, and it's a lot more difficult than people think, than people give it credit for, because it has a lot of pinch harmonics that add to that feeling, that just like, he's playing with feeling, because it's he hits those notes, and to hit a pinch harmonic, it never comes out the exact same every single time. That's just
Yeah.
it's just the way it is with pinch harmonics. For anyone who plays guitar, I know a lot of you maybe don't play guitar, um, but John Five was able to replicate almost every single time, kind of like how Zach Wild does. Zach Wild has such control of pinch harmonics, and so did Dimebag Darrell. And
Yeah.
when you hear the solo played by John Five on Home Sweet Home, it makes you realize, like, oh man, yeah, this is actually a great solo, and it's got so much feeling, and it doesn't require that ton of technique. Same like with the art, what we were just looking at, right? Like these artists, a lot of them, maybe the technique isn't 100%, maybe the anatomy. For example, um, Johann, the guy who does the Dragonbane, um, uh, Johann Egerkrans, he he may not have the anatomy 100%. Maybe he is great with anatomy, but in those drawings, the anatomy is very cartoony. It's not, to scale,
Yeah.
but yet it's super memorable, right?
Yeah.
Yet his art stands out. It's him. It's a piece by him. In fact, my wife bought a book. It's called The Undead, that this artist did. And I go, oh my God, this looks really cool. I love the art in this book. And I go, it really reminds me of this artist who does a role-playing game that I've been wanting to play, that I
Yeah.
own the books for, called Dragonbane. And then I see the guy's name and I go, oh, he's like from Finland or like Sweden or something. And so is the guy from Dragonbane. What a coincidence that they draw similar, and then I look at the names and I go, wait, it's the same guy. What the hell? And sure enough, and that's like literally the first thing when I saw this Undead book, I go, that reminds me of the guy from Dragon Ball. And that's the kind of thing that makes an artist really stand out, when the art is
Yeah.
so unique that you can recognize it right away. Even though I didn't know his name, I knew this reminds me of Dragonbane. Like this is the style
Yeah.
that's unique to this person. AI cannot copy that.
That's what I was gonna say. Pull up Harry Clarke illustrations. Harry Clarke, Clarke illustrations. This guy illustrated some Edgar Allan Poe books and stuff, and a couple other very interesting. And he was a stained glass artist, and
Oh, that's cool. I like stained
yeah,
glass. Yeah.
and his art is perfect for Edgar Allan Poe books. Like, that lanky look. We keep talking about the lanky look, which isn't what we like exclusively by any
Like
means, but
this.
these all just happen to be. Um, it's hard for me to see that on the screen. Can you zoom in on anything?
Let me
Harry
see.
Clarke. Did you type Harry Clarke illustration?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for painters, I have Create, KRE, and the number 8. I actually went on a cruise and discovered his paintings on a cruise. I saw one that I loved, and I'm like, oh my god! And I looked him up, and he's
Oh
local
yeah.
in Florida, and he's very, very bright and colorful. And that actually inspired me to do a Kickstarter we're going to be doing later in the year. That's what inspired the Chromatic Animal series that I did. Uh, but yeah, he uses a lot of color, really bright, really loud
That's cool.
paintings. Yeah, a lot of explosive
Yeah,
kind of
definitely
things.
super unique. I mean,
But
these.
yeah, that's the thing. So a lot of people have the knee jerk reaction against AI, right? And they'll say, "Oh, AI slop, AI slop," and then if you ask many of these people what makes it slop, what don't you like about AI, a lot of them cannot tell you what it
Yeah.
is they don't like about AI. Some will say, "Oh, the piss filter," because AI has this infamous yellowish tint on a lot of the illustrations it churns out. But what they cannot really put into words is and this is why when I do my art, I don't use rulers, I don't use protractors or anything like that, because I like those errors. And it's funny, it reminds me of like the Jackson 5 movie, where they're recording a song, and then Michael Jackson said he's supposed to scream out, "Just look over your shoulder, honey," and he makes a mistake and says, "Just look over your shoulders, honey." And all his brothers are like, "Oh man, you screwed it up. Now we got to redo the take and this and that." And Barry Gordy goes, "No, that stays in, and it stays in, and that is what appealed to the masses because it made it human. That
Mhm.
is what AI is missing. That humanity, the errors, the mistakes, the
Yeah.
imperfections, are what makes it human. Which AI will never be able to replicate that."
Yep. It's exactly. It's just the uber perfection. And humans have tried to do that. Have you ever seen the movie um shoot, what's it called? It's about the drummer. It's got the guy who played J. Jonah Jameson in it. Um
It's about the drummer
yeah, it's about a
from
drummer.
from Def Leppard.
No, not Def. He has two hands. I did two hands.
Oh,
Guy from Def Leppard. I would be going like this if I said Def
yeah,
Leppard.
true, true.
Um,
A
movie about the drummer. Movie about the drummer.
drummer. That thing you
Um,
do?
no, not that thing you do. That was about like a. It's called Whiplash.
Oh, I never saw it.
Never saw
That thing
Whip.
you do is the
Dude,
main guy is a drummer for the
the
band
main guy is the drummer in the movie. Yeah,
in that thing you do. So
in
anyway,
Whiplash. Anyways, you need to watch Whiplash. It's so good, Gio. Honestly one of the best movies I've ever seen.
really
Top, it definitely
that
top 50.
good?
Top 50. Yep, it's that good. It will remind you of your band days. You mentioned you were in big band. I know about your band director, what an asshole he was.
And he used to throw
Shoot,
shoes at us. It
he
was
threw shoes at
crazy.
people.
He
Okay,
used to
this is going
throw
to
the
remind you of
chairs.
that times 10. Okay, but it
Wow,
is such a good movie. Gio, you need to watch it today. When we're done here,
wow.
fucking
Okay,
look it up and stream it because you need to watch Whiplash. It is that good. But anyways, it
wow.
reminds me because the
And I'd
director
never heard of it.
it won awards and shit, dude. It's like so good. Anyway, so the director does he wants absolute perfection, right, from this drummer, and he'll hear like just a slight deviation from the eighth note. If you're just anticipating the eighth note by 1/100th, of a beat, he'll catch
Yeah,
it because he's so good with his ears. We're like, no, do it again or whatever, things like that, right? And it's like, dude, it's those imperfections when you're that perfect with your playing.
then why do you need a human to play
Yeah,
it?
you just
Exactly.
need a robot. You don't you it's good in terms of like on paper, right? The technique, but it doesn't leave any room for that human element of uniqueness and
Yeah,
creativity. And that's what players like what we are talking about, Slash and Buckethead and you know Guthrie Govan and a bunch of guitarists and other musicians who are well known and right away who they are because of those things. Like these artists, like these actual like canvas artists that you were talking about, there's imperfections in their art and that's what makes them unique, and you can tell who they are right away because they have this uniqueness. And if they were super flawless in their anatomy, if they're super flawless in their color gradient, if they're super flawless in everything else, then why wouldn't you just have a computer do it for you? Because it would just be a mathematical equation. Same with the drum line, right? In the movie Whiplash, it's just math, right? It's just math breaking up the beat into different sections. So like you break a beat
yeah,
into eight, and that's eighth notes. If you break it into four, it's quarter note. And so it's all mathematical. You just need a computer to do that for you. You just get the metronome going and but the fact is, as a human being, you need to have room for those errors and that uniqueness. And I
yeah.
think that
In
people are
in fact,
missing that.
some of the most with comic books specifically, guys like Rob Liefeld, like so many people, he gets so much hate. It's funny because he was the single most popular artist in the 90s, in the late 90s. And I mean, he was doing Calvin Klein commercials. He was the most popular artist by far. And he, he gets so much hate now from people because they say his art sucks and this and this and that. But why was he so popular? You can tell when it's a Rob Liefeld piece, and people can try to replicate his art, but it would not be a Rob Liefeld piece. You can
It would
tell
not
that
be,
it
yeah.
was not him.
It's very unique.
Like his characters, yeah, people make fun of. Oh, they're always the cocaine face. They're always either grinding their teeth or they have their mouths open,
The
screaming or
cocaine
whatever,
face. I
and
love that.
and he
I
can't
mean,
draw feet or whatever. But look up his Captain America poster. People,
Oh, it's
man, it's one
horrible,
of the
but
most searched for freaking images. One of the most viewed
it's
images, and
horrible, but I'll tell you what, you know right away it's Rob
right
Liefeld.
away, Rob, and it's
The problem,
awesome.
okay, so
Like, it's awesome not just to be ironic. I mean, I love it because of the imperfection, because it's
yeah,
so ridiculous and over the top.
but it's
That
great. Yeah, it
chest,
makes it great. It makes it great. The errors and all, errors and all. Um, the thing with Rob Liefeld, I have no problems with his art. I just have problems with the person.
oh, he's out of this world. It's nuts for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when he did, do you know the story of Youngblood?
Mm, which story?
The comic Youngblood. You remember when he went to Image Comics
Yeah.
when he left Marvel right at his peak, and he made Youngblood, and literally
His
every
was the
character was
first. It was the first. Youngblood #1 was the first Image comic ever
yeah. Everyone thought
published.
it was going to be worth so much money. Collector's editions.
Yeah.
They ran out of the first printing of it, and they're like, "Oh, this is an indication it's going to be such a collector's item." And every character was a copy. Like the main sword guy was Shatterstar. Basically, was
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, a bunch of the characters, they were all copies of other characters. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the basic thing with Youngblood is he made the comic, but he didn't actually really want to make a comic. He wanted to make all these other things. So he wanted a cartoon series, he wanted merch, all this stuff. So he was focusing so much on that that he never actually drew the issues.
Yeah. He was
So
late every month. Yeah.
I think in the end of the run, they only made 10 issues of Youngblood.
Yeah.
And
He he's
and so the comic,
notoriously slow
even though
at
it's the
finishing.
first issue of any Image comic, you would think that would be worth some money. You can buy the first
Yeah.
issue, the first printing for like 50
$5.
bucks.
Yeah. You can find it in dollar bins even. Yeah. It's crazy.
And it's like, again, Rob Liefeld, the art was, unique and interesting. And I appreciate that from him. The fact that he didn't care what people said about it
Yeah.
not being able to draw feet or anything like that. Like he did his thing and he was Rob Liefeld and he was very unique. As a
It's so
person,
funny. Have you
though,
ever actually looked at the cover of X Force #1?
the
It's
one with Cable on it.
it's yeah, it's either X Force #1 or New Mutants 100, one of them. Bro, when you actually start looking at the details, it's so jacked. Like there's one where the leg, the calf has to be like longer than the person is tall for it to make sense. When you actually look at it, it's hilarious. But that's what I loved about his art. But anyway, you're right. And you have to be able to separate the art from the artist and the artist from the art. And
Mhm.
that's in anything. There's so many jerks in this world who are art actors and musicians and artists, and
Yeah.
they're just jerks. But their work is so perfect. I mean, look at Sean Penn. He's a psychopath, but
Great actor,
he's
though.
one of the greatest actors of our generation.
Yep.
Musicians too, and then of course uh, 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 artists like him. He just recently, just this past week, he made some stupid comments about Batman. Someone asked, because the biggest comic book right now, the hottest comic book is Absolute Batman, right?
It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't read it yet. I've been saving up so I can just read the first three trade paperbacks back to back and whatever. But so somebody asked, he had done a cover for a Batman issue. And so somebody asked him, "Oh, are you going to do a cover for Absolute Batman? Because like they have some big milestones coming up or whatever." And he said something to the like similar to like drawing Batman would be a step backwards. Like, why would I waste my time? It's a total waste of time. Why would I waste my time to draw Batman? And it's like, you just did a
Wow.
Batman cover a couple of months ago. Like,
What a
and
douche.
what kind of and then he ends that. It was crazy. It was on a live stream where he said he does whatnot and he signs books live and then mails them to you.
Mhm.
And it was during the stream, somebody recorded it. He banned this person because they asked that. He banned them from the stream, and he says, "You know what? I'm just gonna next time you say that," because the guy started the question with, "Hey, dude, would you ever do Batman?" He's like, dude, I'm not,
Oh
dude,
my
I'm
god.
fucking Rob Liefeld, okay?" And everybody then, of course, all the memes, because I'm Rob. Anytime any famous person says that, "Don't you know who I am?" or "I am
Yeah.
whoever,"
It's cringe.
it's very cringe. So he ends the stream right after booting the person. He's like, "I'm gonna boot you. I'm effing Rob Liefeld," and he boots the guy, and that's how it ends. It's like, oh man, what a way to end that uh, tidbit.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not a great person.
yeah.
Anyways, we're 2 hours into the live stream. We're at 1278, which is amazing. We have 19 backers. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Gio and I are going to end the live stream now. 2 hours is long. We may pop on later on today, depending on how the campaign does throughout the rest of the day. But we're going to keep an eye on it. Thank you guys for all the support again. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to get this book out to you guys and get all the other products, and then see you guys in conventions next year, because we will be doing the
We're
convention
gonna do
rounds.
the rounds.
Yep.
Heck yeah,
All right,
man.
guys.
And we have a lot of exciting projects coming up too. And Left for the Vultures, man, we have a ton of adventures that are, we just gotta format them and get them out. So
Yep.
you'll have plenty of stuff that you could run on this game. It's not going to be like so many other games where you'll have to wait a year or more.
Yeah.
Like my gripe with Marvel Multiverse role playing game, it took almost 2 years before the first adventure was. I'm like, just release a 2-page adventure, man.
Yeah,
You know,
seriously.
took them so long.
Yeah.
That will not happen. You have so many adventures and really cool stuff. Really cool stuff coming.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. I am Vase Odin from Left for the Vultures, and with me today was.
I'm Gio from the Headless Hammerhead YouTube channel.
Thank you guys for hanging out, and thank you guys for all the support. We'll see you guys very soon.